Jesus told a story about a man who went out and sowed seed, and depending upon the condition of the soil, it determined whether that seed actually produced lasting fruit. There are many wonderful principles that are found there. It's called the parable of the sower, but it might be more appropriately called the parable of the soils. Because you see, as you consider it, is the condition of the soil that really is the vital factor. The sower does his job. He goes out and he sows the seed, and he does it abundantly. There's not a problem with the seed. Jesus described the seed as being the Word of God that's perfect and powerful. The real issue is the soil. There's that hard-packed path along the side of the garden. When seed touched that, it did not even penetrate the soil. And so there are people whose hearts are so stony that you share the Word of God and they just don't respond at all. Then he spoke of shallow soil. It seemed that it would be fruitful and fertile, but there was no depth where the plants that were tender could put down any roots, and so there was no fruit that when the sun came out, it just baked those plants and cooked them to a crisp. And so there are people that will oftentimes make a very superficial, shallow, instantaneous response to the sharing of the gospel, but it doesn't last. And then Jesus spoke about the thorny ground, ground infested with weeds, thorns, thistles. The seed is sown, it begins to grow, but then it's soon choked out. And Jesus described that as being those who have the cares of the world that just choke out the potential for life. Then he spoke of fertile ground, of ground that received the seed and bore fruit, and of course in various measures. And so I want to tell you that your responsibility is not for the soil. Your responsibility is to sow the seed. And if you sow it abundantly, then the Bible promises we'll reap abundantly. Sow sparingly and we reap sparingly. So God's given us a task, and that's to go out and sow the seed. There are going to be some that just reject it flat out. There are going to be some that look promising, but then they wither away when trouble comes. There are going to be those that we think have responded to the gospel, but soon the things of this world just choke out that potential spiritual life. But I'm telling you that there are going to be some that are going to receive the word, and it's going to make an eternal difference. So get busy sowing that seed.